Hello there, guys. It's my wonderful pleasure to have you guys with me. So we move on today to another topic on the series on human reproduction. Please make sure you pay attention to everything I will be saying. And if you're a student, at whatever level, if this is relevant to you, do pause the video. I might not actually read through every sentence because of time, but everything I'm going to explain is going to be already in what is written here. So the female reproductive system basically is made up of the primary organ, which is this guy, the ovary. Why is it called the primary organ? Because it makes the eggs. That's why it's called primary organ. Or we call it primary reproductive organ, while every other thing on the screen here represents the accessory. Accessory organ means those structures that help to nurture or that helps to transport the egg, fertilized egg, and all of those stuff. So all of the likes of vagina, the uterus, the what's it called, the fallopian tube, all of those structures, glands, all of those structures work together to bring about the nurturing of the egg release. So this is called primary. Don't forget that this is called primary reproductive organ because it makes the egg basically. So as an overview, the female reproductive system does something. It produces the egg basically. It causes the egg, when the egg is fertilized, it causes it to grow, and it also helps the baby to go through the gestation period, which is pregnancy. Then the child will be expelled out, and most importantly, they are hormones secreted. So basically what happens that this guy executes is production of egg, fertilization, gestation, childbirth, then of course hormones. That's like 5 major functions of that's an overview. So let's take a look at each of these parts, please. Now, like I said, if you're a student, pause the videos. I won't explain I would explain very well, but pause the video to get the nitty-gritties of everything here. So work with me. So of course, this is the female reproductive system we are seeing on the screen right here. So it has different parts. There are more parts, please. This is more of like the internal part. There's what we call the external genitalia, which I will talk about that in other videos, really. So this is the vagina here. This is the cervix. This whole part is the uterus. Then this is the fallopian tube. This is the ovary. This is the round ligament. This is ovary. There's always a wide ligament somewhere there, which is called broad ligament. We'll get to all of this as time goes on. Now, please walk with me. Now, this uterus has 3 parts, and I'm going to say why am I saying this now. So if you look at this, the outer layer has a name that's called perimetrium. This inner layer is called myometrium, and this is called endometrium. I think I do have, let me go back here. Beautiful. See what I'm saying? So this is perimetrium, myometrium, endometrium. So these 3 forms the uterus. It is very important you know this, especially the endometrium and the myometrium. Why do I need to know that? Because the endometrium is what is being shed off during menstruation. Menstruation, please. Now let me say this. Menstruation is not the same as menstrual cycle, please. Menstruation is a segment in menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle takes about 28 days. So from day 1 to day 28, the first 3 to 5 days is menstruation, which is also called period or menses. That is when this endometrium is shed off. There's a lecture on menstrual cycle. We'll see that later on. All right. So you need to know what is being shed off during menstruation or period. That is endometrium. While myometrium is very important during childbirth or parturition, because it's the one that contracts by the effect of some hormones like oxytocin, so to say. All right. So I've already showed you so it means 3 things forms the uterus, 3 layers forms the uterus in terms of layer, please, because this also has its own name. Basically, that's called the fundus of the what's it called, of the uterus. So like I said, I'm not going in detail here, I will go in more detail as we move on. All right. So basically, and this fallopian tube is also has different parts. It has the isthmus, it has the ampulla. So I'm not going to that now. All right. This is just your gross overview. So please make sure you pause the video at every point here. So the ovary, basically, what does it do? The ovary makes egg. It makes egg. Now, inside that ovary, there's something called follicle. I will show you that in a minute. That follicle is where the egg is produced, but aside the egg produced in the follicle, the cells of the follicle makes the sex hormone. In female, that's going to be estrogen. Then when the person is pregnant, progesterone and some other hormones are added to that. Please don't forget this part. The next guy on the list is fallopian tube. Of course, fallopian tube does one thing majorly. It transports the egg from where it is made. Let me get all of these things off. So the egg is made here, and it is sucked in. There are a lot of processes that makes it to go like that. We'll do that when we get to egg and sperm transport. So it goes like that. So it is the fallopian tube that helps to transport, and it's also the site of fertilization. Usually, the sperm cell usually meet the egg around here most of the time. So the sperm cell gets to fertilize the egg around there. Then when it's fertilized, it moves, it transports it from there till it gets attached there. So the function of the fallopian tube basically is what? To transport. The next guy, of course, is the uterus, which I talked about. It contains endometrium, which undergoes cyclical changes, which sheds off during menstrual cycle. Then, of course, it is the one that holds the baby in place all through, and is the one that's going to contract to expel the baby out during labor or during childbearing, as it were. The next guy on the list is cervix. Usually, people don't always take cognizance of the word cervix because, it does a lot of function. Let me say two things here. Number one, this cervix becomes tight when a woman is pregnant. It becomes tight so that it will prevent the baby from coming downwards, number one. Number two, this same cervix becomes very important during childbearing. There are some receptors, touch receptors around the cervix that when the head of the baby touches that, it will send signal to the brain to release oxytocin. Oxytocin will then come down here on the myometrium of the uterus to cause it to contract. To contract. Then that will push the baby towards the cervix again. And the cervix at that point will be getting wider. As a matter of fact, there's particular length that the cervix is meant to attain before the baby can come forth, so to say. But the cervix is very important, very, very important during pregnancy and also during childbearing. During pregnancy, because that is where it becomes tight so that the baby will not come down. And sometimes it always has a mucus plug there to protect the baby from infection, all of those stuff during pregnancy. Then also, it has some receptors that helps to send impulse to the brain. It is called neuroendocrine reflex. We'll talk about that as time goes on, so to say. All right. So, but just know that the cervix is very important during childbearing and also in protecting the baby before childbearing. Then please make sure you can pause the video here to read everything you have to read. All right. Then the next guy is the vagina, of course. That is used for coitus, sexual intercourse, and that is also the canal through which the baby will come forth during birth, as it were. All right. Moving on. So this is a diagram that you might want to pause. If you're writing exams, I would advise you to pause this video. Practice this. It's very important. All right.